Hello, chat. Hello, people. How's it going? How is everybody? See if we can find the right thing here. Uh-oh. Okay, so there is no Mystic. There is no Mystic tonight. Mystic is doing other things. So I might just kind of go with this one. Or do we have a full cam? Ooh, we do have a full cam. There you go. With like nothing, it's just me. Like just me. I has pizza. Yes, pizza. Pizza is a wonderful thing. It is wonderful. So we are starting the show very early. Well, I mean, kind of very early. It's 7 o'clock. I mean, we start at 7 o'clock sometimes, right? So we're starting up a little early. You know, just kind of got to get it like out of the way. For some reason, YouTube's being a dick, and you know, the YouTube studio thing just isn't working. It's like connect streaming software to go live. It's like, fucker, I am live. And I keep refreshing it and nothing's happening. Like, I can't even see chat messages on YouTube itself. Like, I can see them. I can see you guys chatting here through OBS. But I can't see it on YouTube, which is kind of funny to me. I mean, just saying, you know, I think it's kind of hilarious. I might just have to watch. No, I don't want a mini player. What's wrong with you? Default view. There we go. That way I can see you guys and myself. Because, yeah, YouTube's just being jackassy. How many fingers am I holding up? One? Is it one? Is that the right answer? I don't know. Is it the big long one in the middle? Painkiller, what's up? Yeah, you can see it just fine. Yeah, so welcome to this solo edition of what is that on my monitor? This solo edition of the Malice Experience. It is truly a Malice Experience now because we're going to be just jumping right into the topic. Mystic is the king of, you know, tarot and talking about the tarot and things like that and introducing to you guys to, you know, new tarot decks. So I will not be partaking in that. We're just going to be kind of like just jumping right into it, and that's pretty much it. So the meat of the evening, surprisingly, is we're going to be talking about EA Koeting. So now, grant you, this comes out of the Sun UK. And as far as I'm aware, the Sun is a tabloid, so probably going to have to kind of take everything here with a grain of salt. I mean, I might have to kind of do some further research, but you know. So first and foremost, publicity is publicity, right? You know, so it's like, you know, there's no such thing as bad press, right? No press is bad press, which is kind of like there's a double meaning to it, if you really think about it. Because, right, it's saying that no press that you get is bad press because people are talking about you, and the only type of bad press is when you don't have any press, when nobody's talking about you, right? So it's kind of like a double entendre kind of thing, right? No press is bad press, which is cool. Now, obviously, you know, I mean, we've gone through kind of like this whole idea. I forgot to put my rings on, by the way. So I went to so there's an article in the Sun about E.A. Koeting, or Matthew Lawrence, which is his real name. Matthew. So apparently, so this was, it said it was updated October 28th, 2021. Right? So I guess it says the title here, YouTube slammed a Satanist who inspired double killer, I'm not going to say his name, with preachings about sacrifice is still online. So before we get into kind of like the, did they take his YouTube down? Is it gone? Is it gone? Really? Wow. Yeah, he is fucking... He's gone. So, I mean, this is going to bring a whole nother level of this, right? So this is going to bring a whole nother level of shit, right? No, it's all good. Welcome. So we're talking about E.A. Koeting. So E.A. Koeting is probably within like the pagan community, probably one of the, I would say, largest Satanists online. And so apparently there's a situation here where somebody killed two people, and it says that this person was inspired. I'm not going to use this person's name, by the way. We're not going to use this person's name. So was inspired by Koeting to kill two people. And so apparently, I guess I just looked it up. So E.A. Koeting's channel is gone. So here we go. So here's the thing. I was not, and am not, a big fan of Koeting and the way that Koeting does things. There's a lot of things that Koeting puts out there that I completely disagree with, fundamentally. Right? Like from the get-go. Like, first and foremost, I mean, it always just irritated the piss out of me that, you know, the guy would do these videos and then like right in the middle of a video, he would just kind of stop and like start like pushing his books and stuff like that, you know, for people to go buy it, and like drop like the way that he just said, you know, links and stuff like that and whatever. But you know, at the end of the day, you got to make money, right? If you're going to be producing knowledge and, you know, putting the time and effort into actually making a book, you know, or books, I guess you kind of want to sell them, right? You know, but at the end of the day, like most of his videos just felt like infomercials for his books, which is something I kind of like, you know, had an issue with and a problem with it. But I think we kind of have to look at kind of like the bigger picture here. So I had heard that Koeting had talked about human sacrifice. I have not seen those videos in question. Now, somebody did kind of send me kind of like a link to one, and I kind of watched it, and I think it was taken a little bit out of context. He was talking about human sacrifice, but he wasn't advocating the action of sacrificing people, at least in the video that I saw. Like, the subject was being spoken about, but it wasn't being spoken about in such a manner that advocated for people doing it. So that is first and foremost. I'm not saying that there isn't any videos out there that where he was, you know, saying like, hey, you know, go ahead, go kill people. No, like, I don't know. I mean, I would imagine that anything of that nature probably would have gotten reported a lot sooner than this situation that we're talking about. Now, here's the thing. Okay. So at the end of the day, right, Koeting is an entertainer. At the end of the day, for whatever content you're producing, whether educational or otherwise, we are considered entertainers. So let's just roll with that for a second. Yeah? Where does the responsibility fall, first and foremost, when someone else outside of yourself commits a violent act of any kind and then says that you were the inspiration for that violent act? Now, where should the responsibility fall there? Like, I mean, first and foremost, before, like, regardless of whether I like Koeting or not, which I don't, let's be honest with ourselves, right? Where should that responsibility fall? What do you think, chat? I'm curious what you guys think before I kind of like divulge my ideas into it, right? I'm curious what you guys think. Where do you think the responsibility should fall? Somebody commits a violent act and says that another person was the inspiration for that violent act. So, where I kind of sit with him is it's like saying that it's the same thing for me. Like, honestly, like if somebody sat there and said that, I see, joined in the early 90s, some kid killed himself, try listening to Slayer. Cop out. Exactly. See, so I mean, chat's where you guys are right with me on this. So, for as much as I don't like this person, again, Koeting, or rather, I don't like the way that he manages his content in certain things that he says. I don't think that, you know, passing blame off to somebody else makes sense. It just doesn't. It just simply doesn't. It's like if somebody jumped out of a window with an umbrella and said that Mary Poppins inspired them to fly around town with a fucking umbrella. You know, what would you do? Like, you would turn around and be like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, why would you do that? You can't fly. And an umbrella does not act as a parachute. You know. So, you know, and then we go through history. You know, we look at Columbine. You know, Marilyn Manson was blamed for Columbine. You know, he's completely fucking, you know, attacked for it. And sadly, you know, the thing that happens here is what we're looking at. If we look at content, you know, like mine or, you know, other people that are similar to me that are darker, I mean, what happens, you know, tomorrow if somebody, you know, does something stupid and says, "Oh, well, Mr. Malice was my inspiration for this." You know, I mean, fuck. I mean, no. Right? But regardless of a person's content, whether we like it or not, we can't be turning around and when somebody commits a violent or heinous act, then put that blame onto somebody else. It just simply can't be done. Like, at least I don't think so. So apparently, this happened in London, or in the UK somewhere, around there. Um, so he killed 2 people. The 2 people that he killed were his sisters, sadly. Sadly, I mean, it's just sad that he killed anybody, but, you know what I mean? Killed family, which is even more fucked up. But what irritates me about this article, though, right, is it says that YouTube is allowing this content to flourish and potentially spawning dozens of other murderers. If somebody has it in them to kill another human being, they're going to do it regardless of what content they're consuming. The content that is being created, the content that is being pushed out should not be blamed. Content should not be blamed for violent acts. It's like saying that, you know, somebody played Doom and so, you know, Doom was an inspiration for them to kill people. Or they listened to metal and metal was an inspiration for them to kill people. Or they watched horror movies and horror movies were an inspiration for them to kill people. You know, and where does it stop? Right? Where does this stop? Right? So apparently it says he made a demonic pact. And it's just I don't know. Like, it's just and so this is scary. This phrase right here is scary. Right? So apparently there is a Dr. Alan Mendoza, right? Director of the Henry Jackson Society, think tank. It said, listen to the wording. Listen to the wording of this. It is remarkable that these internet giants are failing in their duty to protect us. When did it become internet companies' job to protect us? When did that become a thing? Like, first and foremost, if you're a parent, it's your responsibility to protect your kids from shit that you don't want them to be consuming, whatever that might be. And yeah, there is no responsibility on Google, YouTube, or any other company to protect anyone from anything. It's just absolutely ridiculous. It really is. So see, Koeting had cited that the demon in his writings and described how blood sacrifices would allow you to become rich and powerful. So apparently the pact was made with a demon named King Lucifuge Rofocale. Lucifuge Rofocale. Yeah, so I'm kind of going through it right now because there's certain things I don't want to say on YouTube, so I'm kind of going through it to see what I can say and what I can't say. Okay, so apparently, it's also saying here that Koeting associated himself with a group, with the group, the Order of the Nine Angels, O9A. Now those are some bad people, like, or at least they used to be. So I'm kind of upset to see that, you know, I'm kind of sad to see that YouTube actually took that step to fucking removing Koeting. I mean, Koeting had a pretty pretty decent following. Again, I didn't really like the guy. I didn't really like the content that he pushed. I mean, I didn't know him as a person, so I couldn't say anything, but wasn't a fan of the content that he was making. But, you know, I don't think that he should have been taken down. I really don't. I don't think that he should have been removed from YouTube. And you know, now now if he was like citing actual calls to action, like if there's actual like, you know, calls to action in his videos, you know, saying, hey, you know, go sacrifice people, go do this, right? So the thing is like the thing for blood sacrifice can mean a lot of different things. And generally speaking, when you hear an occultist talk about blood sacrifice, we're talking about like using, you know, within a responsible manner, a little bit of your own blood, you know, within the ritual, like, you know, a prick of the finger on the sigil, you know, that's the type of, you know, blood sacrifice that we're talking about, right? We're not talking about going to go kill people or things, or like your animals or things like that. You know, that's not what's being discussed or talked about. That's not. And if you're taking it out of context and you're looking at it in that way, like, you need to kind of reevaluate how you're viewing things. You know, but, you know, we cannot be responsible, you know, held responsible for other people's actions. I refuse to be. I won't be. I will not be held responsible for your fucking action. You do something stupid, it's not my fucking fault. It's not my fault that you're being a dumbass. You know? You know, so it's just I think that that's kind of ridiculous. So again, I think it's a little ridiculous that they kind of took down his page, because somebody said that they were inspired by him. And I think that sets a precedent. Again, like we're like recently in the last, I think, 10 years, roughly, maybe last, I don't know, 7 years, we've been setting some dangerous precedents for what is acceptable in society as far as like actions being taken against creators or other people, right? So it's just kind of I think it's kind of ridiculous. I really do. And we've been seeing it through history. That was kind of like the meat of it right there, guys. Like, I think I'm in shock. I didn't expect them to take his shit down. You know, grant you, like I said, I don't like Koeting. Koeting, he's a salesman. You know, he pushes his books nonstop. In his content, he gives half-assed information. Some of it's, you know, completely false. Some of it's just kind of bent to what he believes is, you know, acceptable. But I don't think he should have been taken down. I don't think that he should have been removed. I know there's some people out there right now that are praising the fact that he's been removed. But again, it sets a dangerous precedent. Because now all somebody has to do is do something stupid and say, oh, this person inspired me to do it, and then they get taken down. And we know that, you know, YouTube, the way that YouTube functions, YouTube does not function in a manner in which real people are actually doing anything, right? It's primarily algorithm based, and it's almost completely AI. So that precedent being set, that's a very dangerous precedent for, you know, content like mine or Behemoth X, you know, things like that. You know, I mean, Behemoth X does, you know, amazing work. I love Behemoth X's videos. You know, they're very, you know, inspiring when it comes to ritual work. You know, but, you know, the next time, you know, somebody does something stupid and says, oh, Behemoth X, you know, inspired me to do this stupid thing, you know, so where do we draw the line? And this is where it kind of comes down to what I talked about before. Like within the occult community, like we need to kind of stop fighting amongst ourselves and really kind of start kind of like supporting each other. Like we really, really do, to kind of avoid shit like this from happening. Like I will continue to say I do not like Koeting's content. I've heard things of him as a human being, as a person that I'm not that do not look favorably upon him. But him himself, he has done nothing to me. And I can't say that, yay or nay on whether or not he's a good person or a bad person. Obviously I have a preconceived notion based off of what other people have said. That doesn't mean that, for example, like if he ever wanted to fucking, chat, I wouldn't do it. Of course I would. So it's just like a very dangerous precedent. And I think that like more than ever, I think us as occultists, we really need to kind of start coming together. We really need to kind of start like, working together with this shit and kind of, protecting each other from this type of shit. Right. Because I mean, this person killed 2 people, and that person that killed 2 people should be held responsible for his actions. Right. An entertainer on a website should not be held, accountable for somebody else's actions. Exactly. Paranormal, it's all good. Don't even worry about it. You're here, so thank you for being here. So it's definitely it's a dangerous precedent. I'm worried, to be completely honest. Because I'm not exactly the most loved person on YouTube, so I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little worried, because it's like once you see something works, once you see something that functions to cause harm to another person, monetarily or to their lifestyle or whatever, right? There are people, I can guarantee you right now, out there looking and seeing, especially like the evangelical extremists that I continue to talk about that don't like people like myself, that are sitting there and looking at this and saying, well, how much of a bad thing has to happen and have somebody else blamed for it for them to be removed. I guarantee you that there are people out there thinking that right now. And thinking how they can use this situation to their advantage to have more people like Koeting removed from creating content. It's a slippery slope, people. It's a slippery slope. It's one of the reasons why, like, I despise cancel culture. I really do. I really despise cancel culture. I understand that there are people out there that, probably deserve on some level to be, to be canceled, right? Like, depending on what they've done. But there's also a lot of people out there that should just be fucking ignored, right? That, they're inconsequential, right? That somebody does something, a small little thing 10, 15 years ago that you disagree with, so you're going to band against them to cancel them, right? And I mean, I had my bout with cancel culture a few years ago, right? I mean, at least like the beginning of cancel culture, right? I used to do a web show like this, on Mixer.com, and we were the largest web show, like the most viewed web show on Mixer for that time period. We would have, 6, 7, 8 people in the panel at once. We'd have partners, like, they're the big name partners of Mixer, things like that, and then their viewers would come in and hang out and stuff like that. And everybody wanted to see the show. It's called Angels and Demons. This was the name of the show. And one of the things that we were talking a lot about at that particular junction in time, we were talking a lot about fucking school shootings. I think I can say fuck now. So we've been on long enough. I think the algorithm doesn't, is going to check, 30 minutes into it. So we were talking a lot about school shootings. And one of the comments that I made as somebody that was bullied in school is I said that, I can understand the frustration that, these kids being bullied must feel and why they feel that this is a necessary action for them to take. Though it be wrong and incorrect and, just generally evil to do, I can understand the emotional state. And because of that emotional state, we need to kind of figure out what it is that we need to do about bullying. How to stop bullying, how to reduce bullying, and how to help people that are being bullied. Well, there was a group of people that just didn't particularly like who I was as a person and decided to turn around and sit there and say and announce to the entire world that I was advocating for, because of that statement being taken out of context, that I was advocating for school shootings, that I was advocating for violence in schools and things like that. And now I got lucky because my community at the time was pretty vast. And all of them were quite upset, about the fact that, people were, saying this shit about me. Right. And so they came to my defense. And, when you've got, a small group of maybe like 10 people talking shit, and then you get like 300 people that are coming at you saying, shut the fuck up, you don't know what you're talking about, it kind of stopped. But the shockwave of that did affect me in the short term. So the shockwave of that, so for example, I had clients, as a graphic designer, I had clients back out of work that they wanted to get done because of the shit that these people were saying. So when you say shit about people, heed this closely. When you say shit about, it has extending kind of, it has a wave to it. It extends outside of the realm of what it is that you're doing. People catch wind of this shit and it will affect somebody. It affected me financially. I lost money because people were saying shit or taking shit out of context just to try to hurt me. So, I'm thankful that it didn't extend too far out, but there was definitely some shockwaves after the fact. And I just had to kind of grit my teeth and deal with it. I did like the normal thing of trying to talk to these people and try to explain to them what's going on. If you just go watch the show, all the VODs are there. Like I didn't delete any of the VODs. The VODs were still there. It wasn't like it would be easy to go and check and see whether or not, but this is the thing. People don't want to put the legwork in, right? When it comes to something like this, people don't want to put the legwork in, to actually find out whether or not shit is true. They're just like, well, I heard this thing, so this thing needs to be true, and I don't like it, so I'm just going to avoid you. Right, so most people don't put the legwork in, and when it comes to cancel culture, the people trying to use the internet to kind of like affect people that they don't like are banking on the fact that you're not going to check it. You're not going to fact check shit. They are banking on the fact that you're not going to do that. They're banking on the fact that they're going to say something and they're going to get their group of people to say something, and then you're going to hear it and you're going, oh shit. And then that's it. That's what they're banking on. Right. Now, I'm not saying that, don't believe people when they come out and they say, hey, this person's doing this thing. What I am saying is be a decent human being and fact check it yourself. Like look up the information. Right. I mean, my bout with cancel culture, thankfully, was, short-lived, and the damage was minimal in the long term. Right. But frustrating nonetheless. And in a situation like this, you're talking about a guy that had, I think, like Koeting, I think he had like 90,000 followers or something like that, almost damn near 100,000. And, he just lost all of it. So, I'm just trying to catch up with chat here. I'm trying to read what you guys are talking about. So, you guys are going ham. So I'm sorry, like, we got like it is a kind of like a limited panel this evening. So, yeah, so I mean that's the meat of it, guys. That is the meat of it. So I guess with that part being kind of covered, so tomorrow is Halloween or Samhain, right? Um, and it is for me my favorite holiday of the year. I love Halloween. I love everything about Halloween. The season, the weather, just the sensation in the air on Halloween. I absolutely love all of it. And kind of wanted to talk about what it is that I do ritualistically, spiritually speaking, for Halloween. So I personally have a tendency of keeping it simple. I do a somewhat kind of like a Day of the Dead kind of setup. So for my altar, I will put pictures of people that, you know, have died or have passed. And now up until now that, you know, the amount of people that I would have up on my altar were very limited. You know, now this year, you know, I've got two very important and close people to me have passed away. So they're going to be included into my altar this Halloween season. And the idea is to, I think one thing that we kind of miss is kind of like to reconnect. Yeah. Like the idea is to reconnect to the ones that we've lost. The idea that it is the end of the harvest season, it is the beginning of the deep sleep of the planet, and to kind of be able to kind of reconnect and invite in those that, you know, we care about and that we love and things like that. Yeah. And I think that all the traditions that we have, you know, built up is we kind of indirectly do that all the time, like every year, right? You know, by putting up the decorations and the jack-o'-lanterns and things like that. You know, we kind of maintain that tradition, even though we maintain that tradition for different reasons, you know, than what we initially would have. And I think it's important for us. I think if you don't normally do anything during Halloween, I think it's kind of I think it would be an important thing for your ritual work, if you're an occultist, to allow yourself to kind of open up during Halloween and tomorrow, and allow yourself to kind of, you know, flow, you know, with the people that you've lost in your life. Or just, you know, people that you want to connect with that you can't connect with. You know, like it could be a famous person that died that you would love to have met, but weren't able to. You know, to see if you can bring that connection in. Also, perfect time for divination, right? Tomorrow is like, if you have any questions for like going into, the new year, going out of this year, about how things are going to turn out for this year, how things are going to start out for next year. Tonight and tomorrow night are definitely perfect times, to really push your divination, really into everything. Yeah. Just kind of to really, really go into it hardcore, and try to get as many answers as you can, because it's the easiest time to read tarot or do some scrying and things like that. Mystic, for example, the reason why Mystic isn't with us tonight, that's a good question, Jurian. Mystic is doing a silent supper, right? So he's placing, doing places for people that have passed and things like that, and actually preparing their favorite dishes and putting it there on the plate, placing it them there for the people that have passed. And it's a beautiful, beautiful little ceremony that he's doing. And I wish I could be a part of it. I definitely wish I could be a part of it, but obviously, distance, kind of prohibits that. So, and there's a lot of things that you can do for divination. We've kind of been stuck into this idea of, we need tarot cards, or we need a black scrying mirror, or we need a Ouija board, or we need to buy something in order to do divination. So there's one way that you could do divination, that I used to kind of fiddle around with and works pretty well. Okay. So if you have a cast iron pot, or just a metal pot, something, so you don't burn, a surface in your house, grab a piece of paper. Any piece of paper will do. If you got parchment will work best. But if it's just normal, college ruled paper out of a fucking composition notebook, that'll work perfectly fine as well. And write a question. Write a question on that paper. Yeah. And hold that paper between your hands, nice and flat like this. Pointed down, straight out, like this. Focus on the question. Close your eyes. Focus on the question. Focus on the answer that you need, right? Not what you want, what you need, right? Then burn that piece of paper. And just let it burn. When it stops, it stops. Just wait for it to catch. Take your lighter, your match, whatever it is that you're using. Light it, let it catch good. Set it down, and just let it burn. Pay attention to the flame. Feel the flame. Focus on the flame. Focus on the light. Right? Feel it. Feel the energy of the question and your energy kind of filling the area around you. And then as the paper begins to stop, the burning stops, feel how it burnt. Look at the ashes and feel the ashes. Interpret the ashes, right? Or, jagged pieces, things like that, is it going to be difficult? Smooth pieces, is it going to be easy, right? Large pieces, right? Is this, is this highly likely? Smaller pieces, unlikely, right? Many options. Read the ashes, right? And it's a very easy way to do divination. It's very cheap. It's only going to cost you a match, a lighter, a piece of paper, and a metal pot. And you can still, get answers if you're open to interpreting how things burn, things like that. Another thing you could do is reading coffee grounds, right? If you're into making, coffee using kind of like actual coffee grounds, and you like the coffee grounds that stick to the bottom of your cup. So you drink a nice, strong cup of espresso, put the plate on top of the cup, back and forth, take it off, and you can read the coffee grounds. It's another way to do divination that doesn't require you to buy something separate for divination. That's a very popular form of divination in Istanbul, Turkey. More intuition. I'm more intuitive, 100%. Go with the flow. Don't try to control it. We try to control way too much shit, and I think a predetermined definitions for anything is a pain in the ass, right? It's just something that we just probably shouldn't be doing, right? You know, I mean, if it works for you, if structure works for you, then go for the structure. But you know, if I think being able to trust yourself is also important, very important. Yeah. So it's just a very important kind of thing, you know, for us to kind of do, is to kind of be able to kind of trust ourselves. And I think intuitive reading definitely, you know, is akin to that, is to, you know, the trusting yourself and your ability to kind of like, you know, do things, you know, most definitely. So. I'm not familiar with that. But I think at the end of the day, I mean, everything kind of like falls into your intuition, though. Like everything falls into how you feel about things. I think, you know, the way that you do it can have a structure to it. Like, you know, I remember when I first started doing tarot, I wasn't so much into the structure of the cards, like what the cards meant, but I definitely kind of worked into like the structure of, like, for example, the Celtic cross for a layout, right? You know, which is for the longest time, it's like, oh, I need all of these cards in order to see the answer. And, you know, it very quickly became clear to me that, you know, with a 3-card read, you know, I can do a pretty accurate and fulfilling reading, you know, with just 3 cards. And I have a tendency of kind of throwing one on top of those 3, so it's kind of like the status situation and then what crosses it. All right, so each one's a crossing card. You know, kind of like what's the hindrance or what's the amplification for this particular situation. And, you know, it's situational, it's circumstantial. It's, you know, so for one person, it could be like, I could be reading, you know, the mentality of the past and what was crossing that mentality, what was holding it back. Or that very same card that crosses could be an amplification, which is causing that, you know, that particular feeling to be, you know, greater. It's definitely, you know, a possibility, kind of part of it. So it kind of really kind of depends on how kind of like you put it together. I mean, that's just kind of how I look at it personally. So, you know, it all really kind of depends on what, like, how you're putting things together, you know, with everything. So pretty much it. So. So yeah, definitely. Whatever, however you guys feel about it, right? Like when you're going into divination, when you're kind of like going to read, I would say, like, I think your primary focus should probably be how you feel when you're looking at something. So everything at the end of the day is intuition. It's how you feel about it. Kind of going through chat again. Yes, I am. I'm an actual teacher. But just because you know about something and just because you can teach one thing doesn't mean you can teach everything, though. And that's one thing I think we kind of have to remember, right? It's like, just because there's this one thing that you can teach doesn't mean that you should be able to, you know, teach everything that you have, you know, a little bit of knowledge on. Paranormal, are you talking to me? Like, why would I be mad if you're taking notes? Like, just go for it. And if there's anything that I say that like helps any of you, then definitely, I definitely, you know, achieve something. Then, you know, because the idea is always to make sure that you guys are getting something of value out of here. That's the idea. And so another thing is, I think starting this week coming in, I'm going to start doing some recorded videos again, not just the lives. So there's a few things I'm going to be reacting to, talking about, stuff like that. So we're going to be kind of getting back into actually making some YouTube content, guys. Not just the lives. For right now, we've been kind of relegated to just like one live a week because like even the Wednesday one started to become kind of difficult for me to kind of to maintain. So I'm definitely thinking one, possibly two videos a week plus the live on Saturdays. Well, my take on blood sacrifices in rituals is it only means something if it's your own blood. And when you use your own blood, there's no need to use copious amounts of blood in a ritual. Like a prick on your finger, if, medically you can do that, hold on a second, guys. Guys, give me 1 second. I will be right back. Chat, I'm going to be a minute. My son's Xbox is apparently died, so I need to try to fix it, but I will be back. All right. Back. Well, I'm back. Not we're back. It's just me. I'm back. There we go. All right. So, apparently, the electricity has been kind of going in and out nonstop here in the house. So, I'm assuming that with the rain and the power going in and out, that the power brick on the Xbox shit the bed. So, I'm going to have to buy another one. Good thing is he still has a PlayStation. I spoil my son. Xbox One, PlayStation 4, soon to be Nintendo Switch. Top of all of that. Spoil my boy. But anyway, so I'm sorry to keep you guys waiting. Someone has a question. Okay. Okay, so Major, curses are a thing. I don't do them. I don't do any of them. And that's just for my own personal karmic reasons. So I think that trying to negatively affect somebody else is, at least in that way, it's just a show of cowardice. Binding can be considered cursing, but if you're doing something to protect yourself, that's one thing. But I think that it's circumstantial at best. So, can you do it? Yes, you can. Should you do it? That's up to your own moral compass, honestly. I don't, personally. That doesn't mean that you won't or you can't. It means that I'm just not interested in that particular activity, right? That's just kind of how I look at it. Yeah, that's that. Hopefully that answered your question. Hopefully you're still here. No, not a problem. My pleasure. My pleasure. Feel free to check out the back catalog of shit that I've talked about and people I've reacted to, and good times. Good times. Anywho, guys, so for tonight, I think I'm gonna call it there. I think for me personally, that's gonna be it. Keeping it short tonight because of not having Mystic, things like that. Also, kind of a little hungry. Kind of want to eat something. Gotta go make something to eat. So I'm gonna do that because somebody sent me a picture of food and now I'm hungry. So I gotta go eat something. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this talk about Koeting and cancel culture and cancel culture within the occult. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you guys. It's always a pleasure to see you. So yeah. For tonight, guys, that is going to be it. I'm calling it early. All right. I might do something tomorrow because I actually took 2 days off from work. So, so I might actually have some energy to throw a little extra something in tomorrow. So I will see you fuckers at some point, whether it be in the week for a video or tomorrow, something like that. But I will see you guys then. Fuck out. Bye.